All right, so we're here with Alaska Nanooks hockey coach Dallas Ferguson getting set for the second straight home series here at the Carlson Center as the Nanooks get set to host Lake Superior State. So people haven't heard from you in quite a while, I think. So where's the team at right now?
Well, you know what, we came back off that 2-week road trip probably feeling pretty good, where we got some points and played in some tough buildings and started to see some growth, and then we got back and played a real good Michigan Tech team, and obviously came away with no points on the weekend. So you kind of you come back on a high, and you kind of right now you kind of ended the weekend on a low. But it was there's always challenges that come in throughout the course of your season, and for our team, we wanted to reset here and obviously finish the last 2 weekends of the first half on the right note.
Yeah, and you mentioned the 2-week road trip. Typically, it's always been a scheduling thing with the first half or the first part of the winter break there, the first week of January. Yeah. Typically marks the first 2-week road trip. This year, you get two. Has that helped hurt the team so far early this season?
Well, I mean, it's never ideal to be on the road back-to-back weekends, but that's just the way the league scheduling was. And in future years, anytime there's back-to-back weekends, you're going to get a weekend off when you return home. So kind of like we get in the second half when we go to Alabama and Northern, we get back, we have a weekend off. So sometimes it's nice when you're gone for 2 weeks just to get reset with school and physically and mentally, and to get yourself ready. But you know what, we I thought we came back and clearly didn't have the on our toes game going on Friday, but I thought we responded pretty well on Saturday with a solid effort. I thought we checked a lot better and limited their scoring opportunities and created a few on our own, but still wasn't enough to get the win that night.
Last 4 games, we've seen freshman goaltender Jesse Jenks in net. You played 2 great games there at Ferris State. What are you seeing from this kid?
Well, I think that when you see him daily, I think you're starting to see some consistency in his practice habits. I think when they come out of junior hockey, there's some the competitiveness and the intensity of practices, which we do a lot of in college. You start to evaluate that initially, and then until you get them in a game, you don't really know what they have. And we got on the road trip, he started in Bemidji, which wasn't an easy start, and ended up getting 2 points, and then he got back in the net for back-to-back games in Ferris, and which is a very challenging place to play. And I thought he just showed good composure. He never really seemed to get himself rambling around in the net. Puck seemed to hit him, and I thought our guys did a good job. He kind of provides that calmness, and I thought our guys did a good job kind of rallying around that. And he certainly has given us a chance to win in every start that he's had.
The Nanooks game has historically kind of evolved from a defense-first perspective. The Nanooks have always been at the top of the conference in terms of goals allowed per game. Mm-hmm. This season it started off a little bit rough. We're kind of getting back to that upper echelon defense. Are you seeing, especially like the departure of Colton Parayko, to the St. Louis Blues, you guys like Zach Fry, Josh Atkinson will be stepping up and filling in a lot of those minutes? Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, we always had that philosophy: you work from your net out, right? So you need strong goaltending, and then you need your defensemen to, obviously it's not just about defending. I think sometimes the best form of defense is when you have the puck. And I think that, last year we had, 3 veteran guys on the right side, Parayko, Campbell, Kaiser, pretty much the whole season, and they provided a pretty good stability, not only on the power play, but also 5-on-5 and any other situations on the penalty kill, where there was some valuable minutes they had. So obviously with the departure of those 3 guys, and then we're bringing in the new freshman defenseman that we have, plus you bring back Kyle Fraze, who was a sophomore, well technically a sophomore, but missed half of his first year and with the knee injury, and then obviously with Justin Woods returning for his second year after being off for a year. So we've had a transition there that's pretty youthful back end, and at times when we're those guys are getting pucks moving and getting them out of our zone quick, it certainly makes creating offense a lot easier when you're not playing in your own zone. So it's been a big emphasis for us. You got to be patient with those young guys. Sometimes you don't want to be as patient as it takes, but you have to kind of keep teaching and keep pushing them along and I think we'll see the rewards here in the second half when they start the game starts to slow down for them a little bit. I think they'll learn the consistency that's required to be successful on the back end.
Colton Parayko, obviously a great offensive threat as a defenseman as well too. And Zach Fry already with, I believe, 12 points through 10 games, second in the team in scoring at this point so far in the season. So he's already surpassed his sophomore campaign. So coming in here as a junior, I believe, this season, or sophomore this season. Having some great offensive upside for his game as well this year.
Yeah, I mean, Zach's, he didn't, I wouldn't say we recruited him because he was dynamic offensively, but I've always, I played the position, so it's, I have a pretty good understanding of the position and offensive and defensive sides of it, I think. And, I think the way that they gather points now on from the back end is going to be from being able to transition the puck, being able to get your shots through on the power play or get the shots through 5-on-5. Where you start to see some instincts where, he's had a couple opportunities where he's getting in the rush and he's scored some goals around the net. So you start to see a little bit more offensive offense in his game. So, but he's had a good start to his season. I think again, the way you create offense from the blue line is going to be in those transition moments, getting your shots through, and traditionally, and he's done a good job of that so far. And he's a competitive kid, so he's always one of those guys that's rising to the occasion. And and I think sometimes that can be can also work against you when you're trying to do too much. So it's just keep the game in front of you and make the obvious plays and do things quickly with a good pace. And he's certainly had a good start for us.
Yeah. Over the last few weeks, it's been a sort of a story of special teams. This last week, especially the Saturday game, being as close as it was. I think the score was a little bit closer. The game is a bit closer than the 3-1 score indicated, with 2 allowed power play goals to Michigan Tech, a great Michigan Tech team. Coming into this series against Lake State this weekend, what are we looking for from the team this week?
Well, I think that we talked about getting on our toes and skating more. I didn't think. Partly, I think it was Michigan Tech, can do that. They can kind of neutralize your transition game because they do check well, and they've got a good offensive game. Like they'll push the pace and control the puck. So I think we've got to get back to getting the puck moving quickly, and we've got to get back to putting pucks in areas so that we can continue to skate. I think that's the one thing when our team is staying up on the forecheck or attacking off the rush or being aggressive off the cycle to get to the net. I think we're obviously a better team. So that's been a bit of our focus this week so far, is just to get that up tempo style into our practices so we can carry that over into the weekend.
Lake Superior State with a great defensive game as well too, and a pretty big name goaltender that's made a name for himself in Gordon Dayfield. Stops a lot of shots. Their defensive game plays pretty tight in their own zone around the crease. What's the offensive side of the game plan this weekend look like for us?
For us, I mean, I think that in the second night against Michigan Tech, I think we started to penetrate the middle of the ice a little bit better. Off the rush, we had some scoring chances. We created a couple odd man situations that we didn't capitalize on. So, I think that it's good scoring habits. I think sometimes when you score a goal apiece in each night, I think you can maybe start to get a little frustrated, and but I don't think you can get frustrated and quit working. I think that you play a direct game. I think we addressed a few things in some video this week with the guys as far as getting good net drives and putting pucks in areas on the goaltenders. I think anytime you can put pressure on the goaltenders with a net drive and get the pucks so they end up in the front of the net, you're going to get a second, third opportunity on them. So that's something that we've been focused on. And obviously, if we get a chance, we can get our D up in the rush to add a second wave. And sometimes that gets the goaltender moving side to side. And, just play hard, play fast, and let's not pass up any shots this weekend.
Yeah. With only dressing 11 forwards this last weekend gave you some opportunity to do some line juggling. You were without the services of Taylor Muntz and Alec Dukovic, and so on. You get some pretty good, great weekend even for Chad Staley, the freshman forward there. Gets some time on the top line with the likes of Tyler Morley and Nolan Heisman's. Marcus Bissara and the line with Taylor Munson that got shifted out a little bit after he went out after the game on Friday. What are we looking at for a lineup this week? Yeah,
I mean, I think you're going to see some different combinations again. I mean, we're still down a couple forwards, so we're, going to be mixing and matching lines. And I think that, honestly, I think that was something that going into the weekend, I think sometimes we haven't done a ton of it compared to years past where we've got different lines and throughout the course of the week. And it was by design, and all of a sudden we were playing this weekend where, almost every shift you were going with somebody different. And sometimes you work off pairs, try to keep 2 guys together and you rotate in the 3rd guy. But at the end of the day, you try and you want your team to be prepared for anything. I think if you start to get locked into something specifically that's going to be the only way you see it, then all of a sudden when the plan changes, all of a sudden you're scrambling a little bit. So we've kind of we didn't necessarily brief the guys on it last week, but we briefed it this week where we wanted to make sure guys are prepared. Just it's about going out and doing your job, and it doesn't matter who you're playing with or what line combination or D pairing you have. It's about doing your job, and we don't have different game plans for different lines. We want guys to play a certain way and to create our fall into our team identity. So I think it's real important that guys are just prepared to go out and play. And I think maybe you could maybe look at that potentially as something that hindered us last weekend, and as far as just being able to stay on top of what we needed to do, I think we didn't quite get there. So we're obviously focused on what we're doing this weekend and making sure that we play at the pace we need to and take work from our net out and take care of the play without the puck, and I think that'll create some good offensive opportunities for us.
Yeah, great. Anything else you want to say to the fans before we get this series up and running this weekend?
No, we're excited. It's a good opportunity. Lake State and us are right close to each other in the bottom part of the standings, so it's a big series for us, and obviously it's our last opportunity before we go into the Christmas break to play at home, and there's lots of fun things going on with our fans and the appreciation of some of the communities within our community that I think it's important that we're paying respect to and showing our appreciation. And you got teddy bear toss and obviously a skate with the Nanooks, so we'd certainly like to have as many of the kids come out and stay after and skate with the guys and spend some time with them that way.
Yeah, great. It just puts me into my next point here with this weekend being Hometown Heroes Weekend here in Fairbanks. Friday night will be the first responders night, so any EMTs, firefighters, police, and dispatcher personnel get in free to the game with their dependents with identification. Saturday is military appreciation night, so any active or former military with identification also get in free with their dependents as well. So a great thing there, and of course, as Dallas alluded to, after the game on Saturday will be a Skate with the Nanooks event, so bring your skates out with your kids, and we'll also do a teddy bear toss there at the first intermission to benefit the Toys for Tots campaign here in Fairbanks to give a great Christmas for our Fairbanks youth. So Dallas, thanks for your time, and go Nooks.
Yeah, go Nooks. Thank you.